Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next speaker on stage, Dhanika Perera, founder of Helakuru and Pay Here, CEO of Basha.
No, there's a video.
අද විශේෂ දවසක්. අයියාගේ ටීම් එක ලංකාවෙන්ම පළවෙනිය වෙලා. ඒ නිසා අපි හිතුවා අයියට සර්ප්‍රයිස් පාටි එකක් දෙන්න. අම්මට බාර දුන්නේ ගෙදරට බඩු ටික ගේන්න. හෙලකුරු ඇප් එකෙන් තමයි ගෙවනවා කිව්වේ. කේක් එක ගේන්න බාර දුන්නේ තාත්තට. තාත්තා ලියන්නෙත් ගෙවන්නෙත් හෙලකුරු වලින්. සීයයි මායි තමයි අයියට දෙන්න ටැග් එකක් ගන්න ගියේ. සීයත් ගෙව්වේ හෙලකුරු වලින්. ස්කෑන් කළා ගෙව්වා. මට ඕනේ අයියා ලෝකෙ හොඳම ක්‍රිකට් වෙනවා දකින්න.
සරලත්වෙන් රටම සවිපල ගන්වන අපේම හෙලකුරු.
Aibon. Ko sadde. Aibon. Yes. So it's really great to be here today at Google I/O Extended Sri Lanka for the 4th time. I still remember the very first time I appeared on this stage. You can see we were at very early stage in our journey, and also I was so young, as same as you, right? Ravula tibbet nae dawasala. Then Ravula tino kondet poddak sudu vela. Okay, so not only myself, our product Helakuru has been also aged over these years. We started with a simple keyboard app, and in the mid of our journey, we pivoted it to a super app and introduced offering multiple services through the same app. And right now, today, we are here as a successful super app, or the #1 super app in the country. So now, Helakuru is not a keyboard, or not just a keyboard, right? Helakuru is actually now a super app similar to the super apps in the region, dominating their own local markets, not only making a huge social impact, but also being profitable. So today, what I'm going to share with you is actually how we actually came from a simple keyboard app into a multi-purpose super app. So this is actually the brief. I'm going to share with you a few Google tech that we used when we transformed Helakuru into a super app, and then to elaborate you on how to monetize a mobile app, sharing our own experience on what are the business models that work for us, and then how to build a successful business with apps, and lastly, what we have for you, the developers. Okay. Starting on, when we transform Helakuru into a super app, when we take the decision to transform it, we already have actually more than 1 million users, right? So to go, or actually to move forward with a super app concept, we actually wanted to create a profile for all of these users, right? But we didn't want to actually, alter the user experience, but we need to actually give a very seamless authentication experience to our users, right? And for that, we used file-based authentication, which actually not only gave us a very seamless authentication experience where the users does not have to, enter their names and passwords and all that, and entire stack is handled by Google, right? So not only its user experience is seamless, it actually backed by the Google security, right? So that actually we don't even, from the developer's point of view, we don't even have to maintain passwords and manage passwords in our databases and all that, right? And even the security is awesome because Google handles everything, including the multi-factor authentication, as the user authenticates through his Google account. And it's highly scalable. We could actually seamlessly create profiles for each of our users, right? And as a result, currently, we have more than 1.1 million authenticated users in Helakuru. And thanks to the security of Google, there's no unauthenticated issues reported. And when we actually convert into a super app, we actually started introducing more and more services, right, that are actually useful for our people, right? And some of those features needed actually not only waiting or without waiting the user to come to the app and see an update, we need to actually notify the users. So 2 examples is actually our news alert service. It's actually the most demanded, service at the moment in Helakuru. People even who do not use it, Helakuru for the singular typing purpose use to get news alerts, right? So there actually we need to actually in real time, we need to actually notify the users. And for that, we got the help of Firebase Cloud Messaging, right? So the beauty of Firebase Cloud Messaging is it not only allows you to send server-to-app messages. For Android users, it also allows you to do the same for iOS users as well, right? And it provides 2 ways that we can push notifications to the users. We can push notifications with topics. We can get our users subscribed to, notification topics. And when we send a message to a topic, it'll be sent in real time to the entire audience who's actually subscribed to that topic. So for SNR, news alerts that you actually get throughout the day, that's actually how we do that. And also it provides a mechanism to send notifications to app instances. So we use that to our recently introduced Helapay Chat feature. Helapay Chat allows any Helakuru user to do a fund transfer or send money to your loved ones in a very convenient and simple way, right? You have to just select them from your contacts and send money just as a chat message. So for that experience, we had to completely build a chat experience within Helakuru, and that is totally based on Firebase Cloud Messaging. So right now, we are sending more than 30 million notifications per day. Most of them are for our news alert service. But altogether, we are sending more than 30 million notifications to users without any cost. And these are actually another 2 tools that we use, which is provided by the Android OS, right? Android Speech Recognizer and Android Text-to-Speech. So Android Speech Recognizer is what we use when we allow you to type with your voice in Helakuru keyboard, right? So that has been able to, we have been able to give it to you for free because it's actually a tool that we can use within Android for free. And that is actually the same reason why we still can't give you the voice typing capability for iOS. If we are to give it for iOS users, we have to use Google Cloud Speech APIs, which has a very unaffordable price. But we are actually still thinking of doing it in a financially feasible way. So you can see it in future. And Android Text-to-Speech, if you have experienced our news service, go to the news service and browse news. You can see a speaker icon where actually it read out loud the news, right? For that, we use Android Text-to-Speech. Both of these tools, natural language processing tools, are offered through the Android OS, right? And the beauty is, both of them right now supports Sinhala language. So if you have an app, if you're actually developing an app which is actually, you can give a very localized experience for your users by using these natural language processing tools. And app distribution, we are using Google Play and App Store platforms for our app distributions. This is actually nothing new, but actually I thought to mention this here because the previous experience was very cumbersome, right? Before these App Store platforms, Google Play and App Store, come into the picture, we had to completely depend on telcos, right? If we are to get, take a mobile solution to the masses, to the people, right? Not only in Sri Lanka, but entire world. But these two platforms actually completely disrupted this market, right? And allowed anyone who has an innovative idea, who has an app, to make their app available to the entire world, right? And that is actually the same reason why I could, right? When I developed Helakuru for the first time, I was just a university student, right? I hope there are many university students in this audience, right? So as a university student, I could actually, make available my app to the entire country and even for the expats in the world because Google Play actually allows anyone to sign up. It only costs about $25 and make your app available to the entire world, right? And as a result, right now we have more than 16 million downloads for Helakuru only on Play Store. And from that, about 1/4 of our users are actively using that. So we have about 4 million, 3.96 million monthly active users, monthly active Android users for Helakuru Superapp. Okay, so once you actually develop an app, the next biggest problem is actually how to monetize an app, right? How to monetize an app. And one of the biggest challenges is actually finding a business model for any kind of a product, not only an app, but for any kind of a product. The biggest challenge is finding a business model, right? Even if I share our story, even it took us about 4 years for us to find out a business model for Helakuru, right? We spent about 4 years without having any revenue, right? With 0 revenue, we had to spend 4 years, right? We launched Helakuru in 2012, but until 2016, we didn't have any revenue, right? But there are some points that you can actually find out that, and then you can definitely grow that. So right now, we are using these 4 business models in Helakuru, not only one. We are using these 4 business models in Helakuru to monetize our app, and I'll go through one by one. Initially, it was actually, again, a Google platform that helped us to monetize our app. We use Google AdMob platform. If you are familiar with Google AdSense, AdMob is actually the mobile version of that. I'm sure you all know that. So Google AdMob was actually, when we transform into a super app from a keyboard app, we had an opportunity to display ads to users, especially with regard to our news service, right? When we were just a keyboard app, we didn't have even a space to show an ad even, right? But with that transformation, we got opportunities to show ads to users, and that was actually our first business model that worked for us. But with the time, we realized that this is not a sustainable business model. We could actually gain a decent amount of revenue, but there was some time in 2017 or 18, we realized that regardless of the growth of our user base, the ad revenue doesn't grow, right? So that is actually the bitter truth. So we had to actually, research and try out and experiment and see what are the other business models that we can explore, right? And the second business model came as a result. So we use subscriptions as a business model right now. We introduced it as Helakuru Pro, where we actually give the basic features, just the basic features for the free version, ad-supported free version, but we give all the premium features for a monthly subscription, right? So right now, for Helakuru Pro, you get an ad-free experience, and there are premium features like, back up your personal words, and enjoy your Pro Star benefits, and all that, and advanced personalization features, right? And it was actually even strange for us whether the Sri Lankan audience, because our audience is actually local masses, Sri Lankan masses, whether Sri Lankan masses would be, comfortable in paying a monthly amount, a monthly fee for this kind of a software, right? මොකද ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සු ගොඩක් වෙලාවට හිතන්නේ software free කියලානේ නේ, right? So with that mindset, it was actually very challenging whether this business model will work. We tried many things, right? Ad-free experience is just a plus mark, but you have to have some feature, right? Which actually converts the user's decision making, right? So we experimented this and that, but finally what worked for us is very, emotional, attractive feature, right? Nothing technically sophisticated, which was actually keyboard themes, right? So people were actually very comfortable to, pay to get their, look and feel personalized, right? Even it was surprising for us as well, right? But it happened, right? And we realized that is actually the, the taste of our people, and we gave more and more features, premium features, for Pro, depending on that. And I'm really happy to announce that we recently passed 700,000 Pro users for Helakuru, right? 700,000 Pro users for Helakuru who actually pays us a monthly subscription and use Helakuru as a Pro version. So I'm sure many of you are here in that 7,000. So thank you so much for all your support. But now, when I say 700,000, some of you may be calculating it, right? අර 25,000 35,000 වැඩි කරා වගේ. පහුගිය දවස්වල, right? Some of you may calculating, right? What is the amount, right? But the reality is not that funny, right? Because even with this business model, we have challenges, right? We have challenges. The current biggest challenge that we have right now is the most of these, monthly subscription revenue comes to us through carrier billing, right? We have enabled multiple modes of payments to activate Pro version, right? Carrier billing, Google Play in-app purchases, Apple in-app purchases, cards, Helapay, and all that. But 94% of our user base is actually activating Helakuru using carrier billing. So when it comes to carrier billing, the biggest problem right now we have, it's really hard to recover those due amounts from the user's prepaid balance, right? Because when it comes to a mass audience, most of them are actually prepaid users, not postpaid users, right? If it is postpaid users, it's simply we can charge the user. But when it comes to prepaid users, the user needs to have credit, mobile credit in their phone for us to charge them, right? So due to the economical circumstances and the situation of the country and all that, right? And also right now people are more prefer to activate packages, data packages, voice packages, rather than actually, pay per use, right? Because of that, our collection, or actually collection rate has been actually dropped to 26%. So that our Ghana calculate karadam, we only actually get 26% out of that currently, right? That is actually a current challenge that we have in the subscription business model. But as a solution, we are actually trying out to introduce our own payment method, which we introduced a few years ago, Helapay, as a payment option to activate Pro, so that since it directly connects with the user's bank account, we hope at least there will be much conversion rate or recovery rate of the due amounts of that subscriber base. Okay, so in addition to that, we use commissions as another business model, right? Commissions means there are some services that we offer where we don't charge the user, but we actually get a commission for that through the service providers, right? For an example, the reload facility that we are providing. So, To make a reload, there's no fee for the user, right? Recently, we introduced a small fee for the card payments because the cost is very high, right? But it was conceptually, there's no fee for the user, right? But we get a commission revenue from the service provider, right? So from that commission, we anyways incur a cost, acquiring a payment from any kind of payment mode, right? There is a cost. Even we acquire a payment from a card, user's card, or user's bank account, there's a cost involved, right? So as our benefit, we have a very tiny margin, from that commission revenue, deducted the costs that we have for the banks. We have a very tiny revenue out of that. But since our user base is high, massive, we get a decent amount of revenue through this business model as well, right? And also another example for commission business model is actually our own payment method, Helapay, right? So we introduced Helapay as a very convenient payment option to make payments online for physical merchants or online merchants, right? Making QR payments, making online payments. Now, when a user is actually making a payment with Helapay, the user doesn't have any cost from us, right? We don't charge the service for anything. But we get a commission revenue for facilitating that payment through the service providers, right? So that is actually another example for commission business model. And in a number, when the numbers are going up, this becomes a viable business model. So currently, we process or facilitate more than 3 million rupees of reloads per day, right? 3 million rupees per day means about 90 million rupees of reloads per month, right? And with regard to Helapay, currently, we are facilitating more than 100 million rupees of payments, right, per month, right? So from all these two options, we get a commission revenue out there. And the last business model is actually service fees. This involves, now there are some services that we offer where we do not get a commission from the service providers, right? In that kind of services, what we do is we actually charge a service fee from the user, right? For an example, our bill payment facility and the money chat facility, sending money through chat, Helapay chat, right? So in those two options, right, we don't actually, when it comes to bill payments, we don't actually get a revenue from the service providers, so that we actually charge a service fee from the user, right? It 30 rupees or 50 rupees or something like that. And when it comes to Helapay chat, as I mentioned before, Helapay chat allows anyone to simply send money via chat through a chat experience, right? So for that as well, we are charging a user, charging the user a service fee, right? It's same as actually when you do a bank transfer, right? You get a SEFT fee about 30 rupees or 50 rupees, right? So similar to that, there also we charge a service fee from the user. So in a number, right now there are more than 60 million rupees of bill payments happening on our platform, right? And with regard to Helapay chat, it is actually fairly new. It's just about 6 months after we launched Helapay chat as a P2P payment facility, right? Sending money through chat. Innovative experience for Sri Lankan users. So it's still new, but still it actually generates about 12 million rupees of fund transfers per month, right? So these are actually the 4 business models that we use to monetize Helakuru, right? So if you are also building an app, you can actually think of leveraging these business models based on actually the value you provide for your customer, right? Now, if the value that you provide for your customer is actually, content, mostly the advertising will work, right? If it is free content, right? If the value that you provide for your customer is actually a SaaS, software as a service, like our keyboard, right? Or if you're actually giving ad-free user experience, right? Or premium, premium content, right? In that perspectives, you can actually use the subscription business model where you can actually charge your user a monthly fee or annual fee, right? And if you actually, if your app is actually facilitating a transaction, right, between a merchant and a customer, or government and customer, or government and business, those three are the economical factors, no? So if you're actually facilitating payments or facilitating transaction, there's always commissions you can use as a business model, right? And if you actually provide on-demand services, right, services on demand, you can actually use service fees business model to monetize your app. So this is actually what has been worked for us, so I think it'll work for your apps as well. Okay. So for you to monetize your app, there's one thing needs to be happen. What is that? Users needs to use your app, right? Users need to use your app. You should develop an app which is useful for your users, right? So how to do that? How to build a successful business or successful app that actually can lead to a successful business, right? Here, the key is always solving a problem, right? Solving a problem, right? Because people don't need product or services. People need solutions, right? Minissunට ඕන product services නෙමෙයි. මිනිසුන්ට ඕන හැමතිස්සෙම solutions, right? Right? So one of the biggest mistakes that many of the startups and many of the newcomers are doing, they actually think in the other way around. What is actually the most profitable business I can go through? What is actually the most revenue generating mechanism I can use? That should not be the way, right? You should always think from your user's perspective, user's point of view, right? What is actually the problem that I can solve for my user, right? What is actually the value addition that I can give to their life? How I can actually make their lives easier, right? What is actually the need that I can fulfill? If you do that, if you actually successfully give a solution for your users' needs, you will definitely get the return out of that, right? You will definitely get the return out of that as a revenue or some financial benefit, right? So for example, now all the things that we introduced throughout these years are actually solutions, right? Helakuru keyboard. Now when I introduced Helakuru as a keyboard initially, there was no other way to type in Sinhala, right? So people had to use that because it actually solved their problem, a very basic need of our Sri Lankan users, Sinhalese users, right? And with regard to Esana, there actually we fulfilled a very emerging need people had, right? That is actually, with the social media era, people became very information hungry, right? They actually became very hungry so that they need real-time information, right? So when it comes to real-time information, the only option was social media, which can actually, have disinformation and misinformation as well, so that they need a credible and instant source of information, right? That is actually the problem that we solved, or the need that we addressed with SNA, right? And because of that, right now it has become the first source of information for many, right? You will still, watch TV news at night or read the newspaper to get the full detail, but always SNA has become actually the way people get informed for the very first time, right? And Helapay Chat, again, actually a solution for a problem. What is the problem? This fund transferring thing is still a cumbersome process. With all these internet banking facilities, with all these mobile banking facilities, still actually, we have to ask the bank account number from the receiver, and we have to enter all them in our mobile banking or internet banking app or, portal, and save them as a saved payee, and then actually, fill out all these things and make a payment, which is a cumbersome process. In the digital era, that should not be the way a simple money transfer should be happen. Right? It should be simple as actually I take my wallet. I take my wallet and give you a 1,000 rupee note, right? It should be simple as that. So that's what actually we did with Helapay Chat. Now, you already actually use HelaPay chat. You already use chat to sending messages, sending photos, sending voice messages, right? Emojis, stickers, and all that. So why not you actually send money through chat? So that is actually the solution that we gave. And it's, again, rapidly adapting. The user adoption is very high since it actually solves a problem, right? OK. And when you actually solve a problem with an idea, with a product or service, then what you have to do, you have to grow your user base if you are to become a successful business, right? So to grow your user base, you have to go beyond the product, right? You have to go beyond the product and become a brand. Because, people remember brands, not products, right? Even when we actually shop, online or physical, we actually buy brands, right? We no longer actually buy products, right? So that you have to go beyond the product and be a brand, right? Now, still, actually, we have this strong 4 million active user base for Helakuru because it has become a brand, right? Sinhala typing kiwot, patasagala oluwata eno. It has become a brand, right? Katari type karanna ona kiwot, this comes to your mind, right? So you should actually build a brand out of your product. And then you have to take care of your customers, right? Because, it's true that if you come up with a solution and you actually, build a brand and people start using your product, but definitely they need the human support, right? Because, the tech stuff can go wrong anytime, right? So in that perspective, you should have a strong customer service for your product, right? So in our case, we right now actually facilitate, we right now provide 24/7 customer support for Helakuru for anything related to Helakuru platform, the services used by users, right? And the last point, you have to give preferences to your users, right? Because, people are not similar, right? Right? People are not similar. Their preferences are not similar. But the beauty of digital technology is you can actually satisfy all of them, right? You can actually give the preferences to them so that they will actually customize their user experience with the preference options that you have given and use it in their own way, as they wish, right? So you should always give as much as preferences to the users so that actually you can actually make all of them happy, right? So that's why actually with Helakuru, with regard to keyboard, some actually prefer typing with phonetic layout, right? Phonetically, Sinhala. But some actually prefer Vijaysekhara layout. So we have given both, right? And some are actually, comfortable in getting all these news alerts, political alerts, sports alerts, world news, and all that to your phone as alerts. But there are some that do not prefer that. So that's why actually we have given the capability for you. You can either enable notifications or disable notifications, right? And even the Superapp concept, even I actually boast about it here, there can be people, there can be our loyal users who actually doesn't like this Superapp concept of having multiple services within the same app. And that's why we actually launched a dedicated app for them, a light version of Helakuru with only the keyboard, right? Because we have to care their preference as well, right? So if the iOS users got confused with this, I have a news for you. Now Helakuru Lite is available from today onwards for iOS as well. So, thank you. So if you are a user who actually does not prefer this Superapp concept and having all these news and all this and that within the same app, you can go and install Helakuru Lite app and use just the keyboard, right? So that's actually how you have to care about your users if you are to grow your user base. So it doesn't matter for us, right? Now, even if you actually do not use all our Superapp features, but still, if you are using Helakuru keyboard, we are happy, right? So that is actually how you have to do if you are to grow your user base. And finally, you have to continuously innovate. You have to continuously innovate. Because why? An innovation is not an innovation forever, right? Now, 12 years back, Helakuru keyboard was an innovation because there were no solution existed to, get it done. To type in Sinhala on mobiles, right? And it was actually an innovation for about 4 or 5 years. But then the competition comes, right? Gboard started supporting Sinhala, Samsung keyboard, Sifkey, and there are some local keyboard apps as well. There should be, right? With all these competition comes, you will no longer be an innovation, right? So that's why actually, to stay in the market, to be a successful business, you have to continuously innovate, right? Because every product has this product life cycle, right? The S-curve. If you have gone through the concept of S-curve, right? Every product has a startup stage, has a rapid growth, and then it reaches maturity. And if you do not do anything, it will actually decline. Your market will be declined, right? So what can you do? If you avoid actually being declined, you have to continuously innovate so that you can regenerate this S-curve, like this, right? You can regenerate this S-curve by continuously innovating and improving yourself, right? And that's why actually now when the competition comes to Helakuru keyboard with all these international competitors and local competitions, right? We pivoted into a Superapp. We diversified into a variety of services and started offering variety of services, right? Such as SNA, right? So now there are people, now there are Helakuru users who do not actually use Helakuru keyboard anymore, but they still use Helakuru just to get the news alert service, right? That should be the way, right? And then actually, even though the demand for SNA, demand for the news alert service is still there, we didn't stop there, but continued our journey of continuous innovation, and we launched our payment services, the HelaPay and all the payment services. And the innovative part of HelaPay is actually HelaPay Chat, right? HelaPay Chat. So that right now there are users who actually use Helakuru just to get paid conveniently. There are, in the education sector, there are tuition masters, teachers and all them, right? Service providers, right? Who's actually conveniently receive a payment through chat, right? Rather than anything else, right? So there are a set of segment of our users who exclusively use it for HelaPay Chat, right? So that should be the way. You have to continuously improve and continuously innovate so that you can regenerate these S-curves and never let your product market decline, right? So even right now, my team is working very hard to get our next leap of this S-curve, and here is a quick preview of that. Sounds. So that will be rolled out very soon. With that as well. Thank you. So I have 1 more minute. The last one is for you. So developers, we actually planned 2 programs that we can actually collaborate with you and join your support for our journey of Helakuru, right? And one thing is already there, and the other thing is actually yet to come. So The already there thing is actually, we have launched a bug bounty program right now for Helakuru. You know, security is actually very important for any kind of digital platform, right? So that while we actually take the internal measurements to ensure security of our products, we actually thought of getting the developer support, the developer community support, to make Helakuru secure. So this bug bounty program is currently live, and there are so many developers, more than 20 developers already have actually reported us security bugs in Helakuru, right? How this works is you can actually report any security bugs in any of our products, Helakuru for iOS, Android, desktop versions, web version, light versions, and all. And if the bug is validated and found out to be a valid bug, you will actually get paid a monetary benefit, right, as a bounty, right? So already we have actually paid $2,935 of bounties paid so far for the developers. So I invite you all, if you are actually interested on cybersecurity and interest on helping make Helakuru more secure, you can actually go to this domain, bugzero.io. We actually launched this program in partnership with Bugzero, which is a bug bounty program by a Sri Lankan company, right? You can go to this link and read out the terms and conditions and start reporting security bugs to us, right? And earn bounties. Right now, there are many Indian developers who's actually reporting bugs for us. So it's your opportunity that you should also take. And the second one, this is actually yet to come. In 2025, we are actually planning to introduce a Helakuru developer platform where we actually allow you to develop mini apps for Helakuru. So for the users, it will be like a mini app store inside Helakuru where they can actually, by preference, they can actually, add your app to favorites and start using. So the value additions that we bring to you, developer, is, we have already the largest digital audience in the country, right? And you can actually reach that audience without having them to install a separate app, right? Not like before, you know how hard it is now to launch a new app and get it installed to the users. But here, you can actually develop a mini app in a, technically as a progressive web application, and you can actually have it inside Helakuru, right? And for the monetization, you can use two of the monetization mechanisms that we use. One thing is subscriptions, one thing is service fees. Now, if your product or service is actually giving a value addition to your users, you can actually charge them either a monthly subscription or a service fee through our exclusive payment method, HelaPay, so that actually it will ensure the recovery rate as well. So this we will be rolling out to get your contribution also to Helakuru, because I always believe on a collective journey, right? Right? So you can also help and get rewarded by joining hands with us. So stay tuned until we announce this by 2025. Finally, I know most of you are already Helakuru users or have used Helakuru at least once in your lifetime, right? So I take this opportunity to give a big thank you to all of you for your love and support for Helakuru, without which we can never come this journey so far. Thank you very much. Sure.
Thank you, Dhanika, for walking us through Helakuru's triumph. It's been an absolute pleasure to celebrate Helakuru's success here at Google I/O Extended Sri Lanka 2024. So to present Dhanika with a small token of appreciation, I'd like to invite Mr. Chamod Shehankar over to the stage. Chamod is a GDG organizer here in Sri Lanka.